Yo, what's good? It's Gano. I'm trying to be patient. Some of you Africans are very dense. I feel like we keep circling back to the same starting point because y'all just do not seem to grasp. First of all, there is no war. There is no war between FBAs and Africans. How many times? Whoever said anything about war, that came from over there. Africans. You know, I'm going to say this one more time. FBAs are tired of being taken for granted. I'm talking about economically, we spend our money. We expect a certain level of service, customer service, quality service, no matter who it is. So this is not particular, specifically just Africans. This is whoever. There are specific grievances with, the level of service that some FBAs are receiving from, these braid shops. I personally do not frequent many I don't eat the food. I have nothing against Africans per se, but there damn sure ain't no war. The war is against white supremacy. Okay, let's get that. Let's be clear about that. There's no war against Africans. It's just that FBAs have taken a stance against the disrespect. And there was disrespect coming from the African demographic for years. This is not new. But see, this is what I mean by y'all are dense. Even your leaders. Or just uninformed. Because y'all take shit for granted. Y'all take FBAs for granted. Y'all just put the label on us. I don't know I don't know where it came from, African Americans. But it's outdated. We are not African Americans. We black Americans. You understand? So this is not about a declaration of war or, we were never against Africans. So I just find it's somewhat frustrating that there are so many people, running with this narrative that we just being standoffish, we just own one. We just want to beef with any and everybody for no damn reason. But see, this is what I mean. And even your leaders are guilty of this. Y'all never took the time to see things from our perspective. You never took the time to tap in with us, to understand, to get a true understanding of FBAs. Like I said, man, we were displaced, sold off. And all this time, we've been going through our different trials and tribulations on our own. And still supported Africans. Who the hell you think been supporting y'all businesses? Really? 99.9% of it is coming from FBAs. The other is probably coming from Africans. Other African immigrants. So how in the hell was there ever, how were we ever against y'all when we've been supporting y'all all these years? It's just that y'all took this shit for granted. That's what this is about. So to try to run with this narrative, and even your leaders, like this dude Abram Trier, who's talking about this, I spoke on this before. The Pan-Africanism, uniting all blacks all across the world. And this delineation is global as far as people all over the world has gotten wind of this. But this African leader in particular, like I said, Captain Traore, who says that it took him totally by surprise. He can't wrap his mind around this. And I know there are some black Black Americans, not immigrants, who are also like, what's going on? How are we against our own people? You know, we are not against Africans. It's just that we realize Africans were not for us. Like I said, they will gladly take our money. Don't stand on FBA issues. Do not reinvest in our communities. Just take the money and bounce. So, there is a huge disconnect. I keep track of, you know, affairs that go on in Africa. Believe me. You know, I understand the different nuances as far as, you know, the tribalism, which I've spoken on extensively. You know, all the different type of customs. You know, past and present leaders. I don't hear any of them speak on behalf of FBAs, trying to bridge a gap. You know, I have not. So that's why for me it's kind of frustrating that, you know, y'all have taken this narrative without ever even taking any time, like I said, to understand our perspective of things. We are the bastard childs of America. You know, it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like your parents drop you off at an orphanage. Your biological parents, your real parents. They just, you know, dropped you off and you ain't seen them since. And then out the blue, years later, after you've become a grown adult, you run into them. And they like, long time no see, let's catch up. You know, you should come to the family reunion. And you're like, what family? There's no connection. We are connected by DNA, but outside of that, there is no connection because y'all never bothered to establish one. You came, you get the money, and you're out. But we know about African culture though. Up until the 90s, man, FBAs was tapped into African culture. And y'all better not cap like y'all wouldn't. Like I said, I wasn't wearing the dashikis and all. We were tapped into African culture. But y'all have short memories. There's a lot of people maybe y'all young or you're just being disingenuous. Because y'all like, we don't understand why FBAs have taken this stance. You know, we're black versus blacks. Y'all don't remember all the years leading up to now, you know, we were rejected. We try to embrace blacks from all nations, particularly Africa, and rejected. You know what I'm saying? So now that y'all pushing this Pan-Africanism agenda, like I said, the leaders in Africa, it's like we supposed to jump right aboard. You know what I'm saying? Like we hold Africa up on a pedestal. How can we do that? How can we look at Africa with any sense of pride? You know what I'm saying? When your ancestors sold us out to white supremacy, and y'all knew how brutal. We can't blame modern day Africans. But it need to be some accountability somewhere from some of your leaders. You need to own up to that. You know what I'm saying? Address that. Address how, you know what I'm saying? But that's why it's like, to me, I find it almost laughable, you know, that y'all can't understand our stance, why we so separatist. It was cultivated. but it's not out of self-hate. Because FBAs, is all the issues that's in our communities, in this country. We love each other. We stand for each other. We stand up for each other. You know what I'm saying? We stood up for other immigrants. You know what I'm saying? Because that's FBA's true nature, man. We loving people. Y'all know that. Anybody of another race that have any contact with black women, for instance, you know how loving they are, how inviting they are. It don't matter what your race, you know. If you friends of their kids, you come get a plate too. You could sleep over too. FBAs were inviting and loving of all races and demographics. But it come a time, man. Because if you keep giving yourself away and giving yourself away, what you gonna have left for you? You wither yourself away to nothing. We have to stand on something. Because who's standing up for us? So, as beautiful an idea as Pan-Africanism is, and like I said, you know, one big kumbaya and we all return to the homeland, and I'm not saying that's completely out the question. I just cannot see realistically. So no, we never hated Africans, and this is, come on, man, stop the cap. It's no goddamn war. You know what I'm saying? There's some miscommunications. And I think that for the most part, a lot of this conflict has come because FBAs are just sick and tired, man, of being walked and treaded on. You know what I'm saying? Here, take our money. Treat us any type of way. You know, that's what this is about. And we expected more from our African compadres, however you want to put it. You know, so it's like, okay, it's hard to know where y'all really stand, man, because as I said, I don't hear African immigrants talking about reparations for FBAs or standing on any cause for FBAs. I don't hear your leaders speaking up for FBAs. But now that y'all trying to recruit, you know, because they're going to need different types of laborers. They're going to need people in the medical field, science, technician, all across the board, man, for this restoration thing. This shit is happening. It is. And that's what this is about, man. So I don't feel like we have anything to gain by going against Africans. Y'all damn sure don't have nothing to gain. But you're damn sure been profiting. And I just ask, you know, where do you really stand? Where do you really, where does Africans really stand? Where do your leaders really stand? Because like I said, in my entire lifetime, man, all the trials and tribulations, I've heard nothing from Africans. And I'm talking about African immigrants, Africans over there. I've heard nothing to stand up on our behalf. So why are y'all so shocked, you know what I'm saying, that we on this separatist shit? Because it's always been just us. But when we take our money away, all of a sudden it's a problem. Shit is about respect, you know, and appreciation, gratitude, you know, some recognition, some cognizance. You know, like I said, man, we set the table. And we with open arms, Africans, Latinos, come on in, you know. But then, you know, when we fall on rough times, and our stomach get to touching our ribs, and we come, there's no one. So, no, we don't hate Africans. The hell, you know what I'm saying? But there is a deep-seated animosity, There's deep-seated resentment, and there is deep-seated hurt. It is, because, like I said, man, we were discarded. Our ancestors just discarded like trash, for trinkets, no less. Sold off for doodads and trinkets. That's how we ended up here. So we don't give a fuck what the rest of the world got to say about our stance. Because when has the rest of the world ever stepped in and intervened on FBA's behalf? And that go anyone, any nationality, any ethnicity. I'll wait. But not long, goddammit. Because there is no one. So instead of trying to figure us out and understand where we coming from, y'all instantly buck up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if there's any getting through to you people. You refuse to, you know what I'm saying? Can we really have an intelligent, dialogue? Because sometimes people so set in their mindset, man, it is what it is. So, but no, we're not in a war. There's no. Our battle is against white supremacy. And like I said, at the end of the day, man, I don't see the benefit of us going against Africans. It's just that throughout the course of my lifetime, I've never seen any benefit of being in alliance with Africans either. No ops left Scano, you already know.